Why didn't someone let me know? How was I supposed to know? So for the past few years or so, about 5 years, I have been dealing with some symptoms that, of course, I thought were PCOS symptoms. Checked all the boxes. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a PCOS duck. Until I had a conversation with a nurse practitioner. This woman was not even my regular doctor. She was a woman in her 30s, at that, in her 30s, that I ended up having a conversation with on the phone after seeing a new doctor. She was the nurse practitioner of a new doctor that I was only going to go see for the purpose of trying to get a prescription for Ozempic. Okay? Because if you know, you know. Weight loss is a struggle when you have PCOS. Ended up on the phone with this wonderful nurse practitioner who went over my symptoms, asked me a few additional questions, and said, you know what? I'm thinking maybe it's not PCOS. I think you're actually going through perimenopause. I've never heard of this. Why don't I know about this? So, to help you avoid what I have been going through, the potential misdiagnosis, the potential misinformation, the missed periods, and all the other symptoms that come along with something that you may have attributed to PCOS when in fact it's actually perimenopause. Okay, so first let's start. I'm going to be completely transparent. One, I have my notes. I wrote down some notes because I want to make sure that I get everything. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want you to miss anything so that you don't end up like me, right? Secondly, I need you to understand I am not a medical professional. I'm not a medical professional. I'm a music industry, media, and entertainment professional. Okay, that's what I study. That's what I do by trade. That's my source of income, what I do for a living. But who I am is a woman. I'm a Black woman. I'm a woman in my 40s, 42 to be exact. And I'm going to try to phrase this in a way that I understand, my interpretation of it, so that I can explain it to you, my comprehension. So I'm not going to be using medical terminology. I hope that's okay with you. If not, I'm going to admit to you that I feel a little slighted. I feel a little neglected because I was never informed about perimenopause. That is a new term to me. I was always told that, you're going to get your period. That day came. My mom took me out for McDonald's because she said, today you are a woman, meaning that you can now reproduce, you can have children. So you got to be careful out here in these streets, is what she told me. And I also knew about menopause. When you don't have a period, you can no longer reproduce. You go through the change, and I knew about hot flashes. So when the nurse practitioner mentioned perimenopause to me and I was not familiar, I did exactly what I would normally do. I have to research. I have to know for myself. I need to know what's going on with my body and research this term. And what I noticed was that perimenopause and PCOS are like sister wives out here. Like the symptoms are so similar with the exception of a couple of different symptoms. I went to my doctor and I said, listen, periods are coming closer together. I've always battled and struggled with weight. She and I both know that. But this time it's different because I'm gaining weight and I know how to lose it because I've been doing this all my life. But this time it's different. It's a little bit more difficult to lose this weight. And when I do lose like 10 pounds here, 15 pounds there, I had to do so much to get that weight off. Damn near dropping my calories to about like 800, 900 calories. That's not sustainable. How am I supposed to eat? A girl got to eat. What am I doing? And then increasing my workouts to 2-3 times. Don't nobody got time for that. I'm not doing that all my life. Why is it so difficult for me to get this weight off? And then when I stop doing that, I bloom. I blossom like a rose garden. Why am I ballooning like this? Something is different. But my doctor told me your past couple of years have been very different, very stressful. You've been suffering through a lot, which, to her credit, she was not wrong. She was not wrong. These past 5 years have been different. I'll do a whole separate story time on that. But we know as women, if the wind hits our left cheek instead of our right cheek first, your period's going to be 4 days late. That's just what happens. It's all over the place. So she was right. She said your cycles are irregular, your cortisol levels are probably heightened. You're going through a lot. Alcohol increased because the grief, the stress, then more alcohol to cope with the grief and the stress, and then gaining all this extra weight because I'm eating my emotions and then trying to get it all off at the same. It was just a lot going on. So after speaking to my OBGYN and she said what she had to say, I went to my other two doctors, Dr. Google and Dr. YouTube. That's what we do. We go in and we type in our symptoms. This is what's happening to me. What you got? And then it's free. So what I got from Dr. Google and Dr. YouTube, they said, oh, you have PCOS. And there's a whole slew of women that are suffering from PCOS. So what do? I did my research. What is PCOS? So I'm sure if you are watching this video, you are already familiar with the term PCOS and what it is. But if you are not, let's go over what that is. Polycystic ovarian syndrome. Multiple cysts on your ovaries, inside of your ovaries. And guess what? You don't even have to have that to have PCOS. You just have to suffer from one of the symptoms. What are the symptoms of PCOS? I'm glad you asked. Weight gain, excessive hair on your chin because you have an increase, not just your chin, your back, your stomach, your neck, and your back. Okay. Because there's an excess of hormones, specifically androgens, the male hormones. Okay. And that can interfere with ovulation, making it difficult for you to conceive, infertility, which was something that I was suffering from because my husband and I were definitely trying to conceive and nothing was happening. Also, you're dealing with irregular cycles. Shortened, they're coming closer and closer together. They're heavier, they're lighter. Now my cycles are coming closer and closer together, or at least that's how it seemed, because at the time I was not tracking. I was not tracking my period at that time. However, a little later on, after my now husband and I got engaged and said that we wanted to start trying to conceive, that's when I began to track. And I'm going to do a separate story time because I noticed that my cycles were coming closer and closer together. And can you believe that on my actual wedding day in my all white jumpsuit, I looked down and there's blood. It wasn't supposed to be there. It was early. It was early by 2 weeks. These are your symptoms of PCOS. So after reading this, I said, you know what? That's exactly what I have. I'm checking all of the boxes. Yep, that, and that too. So how are you officially diagnosed other than Dr. YouTube and Dr. Google? You can go and have the ultrasound done, do some blood work. And I was told, this is what I was told by my OBGYN, that we could run a panel of tests. We can do the blood work, but the only thing is it's very finicky. Because one day your hormone levels and your ovaries can be happy. They could be doing a little jig. And then 2 days later, they can be a little down and it will show something completely different. So what am I supposed to do? Well, she gave me some things that I could do, a little shift in the diet, do more working out, lower my calories. I'm already at like 900. No. So I have been dealing with that ever since I got married back in 2021 to now, when I just tried to go get a prescription for Ozempic. By the way, my insurance denied me Ozempic. Couldn't get that because they said that was for diabetics. And that was around the time where it was really hitting the market. If you see me looking around, I'm trying to find my medicine. Here we go. So my insurance did not approve this for me. And the nurse practitioner is the one that called me to tell me that my insurance did not approve me for it because I'm not a diabetic. Thank God. I'm not trying to claim sickness if I'm not sick. I'm just overweight and I needed a little bit of a boost. Give me a little boost to get over into Wonderland. Okay. But they didn't approve it. So what she said was, I will prescribe for you, or we can prescribe for you phentermine. And I said, I'm very familiar with Fentanyl. That's what this is right here. I don't know if you can see it, but this bottle, that's what this is. I'm very familiar with Fentanyl. I've taken it before and it worked for me back in the day. It's just not Ozempic. So now this nurse practitioner has not given me Ozempic. She's given me Fentanyl again. And she's exposed me to this new term called perimenopause. So what is perimenopause? First, let's talk about what it's not. It's not pre-menopause. I have been sharing my story with my family, with my close friends, my circle, and explaining to them I'm in perimenopause. I'm in that stage of my life. And they're like, perimenopause? You mean pre-menopause? No, that's not what I meant, because I didn't say that. I said perimenopause. What's that? Premenopause is from the time you start your period. By the way, I started mine when I was 10 years old. That summer was brutal. 10 years old, I got my period and chicken pox the same damn year. Summertime at that. Okay? It was brutal. So premenopause is actually from the time you start your period up till the stage that I'm in now, which is called perimenopause. That's premenopause. Perimenopause is when you're halfway through to menopause. If you watch Life, what did Eddie Murphy say? You on deck. You on deck to menopause. It's about to be a wrap for you. Perimenopause, or the menopause transition, is when your ovaries gradually begin to make less estrogen. It lasts until menopause, the point when your ovaries stop releasing eggs. And in the last 1 to 2 years of perimenopause, this drop in estrogen speeds up. At this stage, you may have menopause symptoms. And menopause is when you go a full 12 months with no period. You can be 6 months without a period, and then on the 7th month, here come on flow. So no, that doesn't count. You're still getting a period. When you go a full 12 months, no period, then you are considered to be in menopause. So what are your symptoms that you're looking for? Perimenopause comes with hot flashes and night sweats, breast tenderness, PMS symptoms, a low sex drive. Can I tell you? I'll tell you what I was suffering from after I go through all of these: fatigue, irregular periods, vaginal dryness, leaking pee when you cough or you sneeze, having an urgent need to pee more frequently, mood swings, trouble sleeping, short term memory loss, excessive weight gain, and the difficulty of losing the weight, trouble concentrating, heavy periods, blood clots, extended periods that last several days longer, shorter periods. Basically, you are all jacked up. The good thing is, I'm glad I have this information, because during the time of COVID, this was the first time that my cycle lasted for 52 days. I had a 52-day cycle. Now, don't be like my husband. I told my husband my cycle was lasting for beyond 50 days, and he thought that meant I was bleeding. I'm still bleeding for 50 days. No, boo. No. A cycle, right? It's the first day that you start your menses up until the day before the start of your next menses. That's a cycle. That's a complete cycle. That was the first time I said something is up. However, I attributed that to the vaccine. We were all being vaccinated at that time. Okay. So something foreign is going into my body. Maybe that's messing with my cycle. That's exactly what my doctor thought, the OBGYN, because I called her like, what's going on? Because I told you we were trying to conceive. And I took about 8 to 9 pregnancy tests. All of them are negative. Negative pregnancy tests. No period. I'm dying. What is happening to me? So she said, oh, well, you did just get the vaccine. I said, oh, okay. My doctor has a way of just calming me down. Like, it is going to be okay over 40. That's one thing she kept reminding me, that I am over 40. You need to start trying to have a baby now. You are over 40. You're going to have a geriatric pregnancy. Like, girl, chill, relax. Anyway, then this started popping off. My chin, right now, I have makeup on, y'all. I'm going to do another video where I actually show my chin. I have makeup on. Down here, just in these two spots right here, it's like the excessive hair, the ingrown hair. I even have, look, I have everything over here. Oh, so I keep tweezers next to me at my workstation at my desk because I sit here during the day with my mirror and my tweezers, plucking out about 13 hairs every single day. Like, I just pulled you out, and then tomorrow, here's 15 more. What is happening to me? But those are signs of PCOS, right? And another thing, because I did go to a spa for a facial treatment, which is what prompted me to do this video. I just went back after a year because now it seems to be getting worse again. But when I went the first time, the esthetician that did my facial, she said, well, maybe it's because of the mask that we're wearing. Everyone is wearing a mask, it's covering the bottom of your face, your chin. I said, you know what, you're right. I keep a mask on because everybody in these streets have COVID. So that's what we thought initially. But no, we thought it was it could have been PCOS, but it was actually perimenopause because it has the same damn symptoms. Now, let me tell you this, the tidbits of advice that I have for you. Listen, I'm a woman in my 40s. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm 42 years old, and I'm still, dot, dot, dot. I'm still trying to conceive. I'm still trying to lose this weight because I have found something that is working for me, and that is fasting. I'm going to do a separate video on that. When I first started my TTC journey, my husband and I was 271 pounds. As of today, I weighed in at 226. Okay. It has been about two years or so, but that's because I kept going up and down. As I told you before, I'll do a separate video story time on what has happened in the 5 years, my weight, my trying to conceive journey. I just enrolled back in school in my 40s with a whole teenage son and a husband and a full-time job plus a part-time job. I'm trying to get my business off the ground. I'm doing a slight career pivot, and it required me to go back to school, get a little bit more education in the field that I'm pursuing. So I'm dealing with that. I'm doing everything that people say you're supposed to do in your 20s and your 30s. I'm doing it in my 40s. So this channel, it's going to document all of that. I'm going all the way through, and I would love for you to join me in it, in all of my journey. Self-care for 40, losing friends. I thought I was becoming dumb. I thought I was stupid. This is real life. I really thought that I was losing it. Something was happening with my mind. And again, around the time of COVID, everything is closed. We are in the house now. We're in the house now. So maybe because I'm not socially interacting with anyone, my level of intelligence has decreased. I couldn't think of basic ass words. What is that word? What the hell am I trying to say? It got bad. And as I mentioned, my profession is music industry, media. So I speak, I talk for a living. And sometimes it was just like, yo, I need to read a book. I need to read because I don't know words. I don't know the English language. I could not remember them. And I'll tell you real quickly, one time that really, really said something is off with me. When the world opened back up and we had a festival here in my hometown, downtown area, where everyone came, it was a lot of people. Again, I work in media, so I know a lot of people. People know me. And one thing about me is if I am out with people, with someone, and I run into someone else that I know, and we have that exchange, I'm the person that's going to introduce you to who I'm with, because it's just rude when you have someone standing there and they're not a part of the conversation and you don't even acknowledge them. I don't like to do that. I don't like when it's done to me. So I introduce people all the time. This one particular outside festival, I was with some people and I saw so many individuals and I could not remember their damn names. It was just, and these are people that I interact with on a regular basis, enough to where you should know their names. And I had to avoid talking to them because I'm with people. If I go up to you and I embrace you and I do the usual whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop, I want to be able to say, hey, such and such, this is such and such, and this is such and such. I didn't even know such and such's name. Multiple people. I'm like, yo, what is happening to what's happening to me? Is this early dementia? What is going on? Come to find out, memory loss is a sign of perimenopause. Trouble concentrating, brain fog. It makes sense. Not being able to sleep. There's a meme where I think it's what is her name? New York from the Flavor of Love from back in the day. And she's sitting there with her shades on in the bed, just like this, staring, looking crazy, looking stupid in the face. That's me because I can't sleep. And I'm thinking, what is happening to me? So what am I saying to you? That I just don't want this to be you. Don't get it wrong. And don't allow yourself to be misdiagnosed by your doctor. Recognize the symptoms for yourself, okay? And how do you start that process? One, if you are a woman of color, know that it is different for us. I don't know why. I don't know. That's what God wanted for us. It's going to be a little different for us. Our symptoms are going to be different from that of someone else. Our time when this starts to happen is going to be a little different from those of other ethnicities. Just know that so that you are aware. If the symptoms that point to PCOS and you are a woman in your 30s, but closer to the 40s than you are to the 30, consider that it could be perimenopause. Know your own body. Can't nobody tell you what is going on with you. Even if you go to your doctor and you spill your beans, like I do that with all of my doctors, because if you don't know what I've been up to, how are you going to help me? If I'm not being honest with you, I have nothing to hide from my doctors. But even so, if you are completely transparent with your doctors and you've been seeing them all your life, you've been you longer than you've known them, longer than that chart history. So if something is off with you, you should know before anybody else. And if they tell you it's this, it's that, and it's just continuing to be a little bit persistent, know your body and get a second opinion. Stay off of Dr. Google and Dr. YouTube, because Dr. Google and Dr. YouTube will have you all over the place just misdiagnosing yourself, okay? Go to a professional, but if they tell you it's something stupid and you know, nah, I don't think that's it, go to someone else, all right? You need to know what it looks like so you can know what to expect. And I didn't get a lot of this information, so I'm going to give it to you. That's my goal. I'm going to give you what I know so that you don't have to go through it. All right, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I hope you did enjoy it. You took something from it and you can put it into practice so that you will not be misdiagnosed or misinformed. All right, that 40+ life.